Hey, puppy trades! We're just gonna catch you up on some of the news that you've missed. So James Comey recently. We had James Comey recently post 8647. Now, 8647 was posted or it became viral 8,647 days after 9/11. So right there, we have pretty blatant comms from the FBI director that we should be looking for the next 9/11. And when we look at this post a little more closely, we notice that it takes place on the beach. We notice that it takes place on the beach. And so, what I've talked about for a while is that Donald Trump plays the Antichrist, and the book of Revelation and the book of Matthew both mention large earthquakes. So if Donald Trump plays the Antichrist, then when Donald Trump dies, quote unquote, or at least is dead for 3 days and then comes back to life in a hospital or something, there's going to be kind of rapture like events. Now, of course, we don't have to wait for Donald Trump to die to prepare for these type of national emergencies. Of course, I worked with blank for a year. I'm not allowed to say who blank is anymore. But we notice this post takes place on a beach, like a tsunami, like a hurricane. And we had another big psyop, this large Mexican Navy ship that matched with order out of chaos. Mexican Navy ship matches with order out of chaos in all 8 ciphers, and the Katamak crash equals Hurricane Barrel. And this happened in New York. So we're looking for a large hurricane. We keep getting these comms for a large hurricane. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to figure out where is this hurricane going to occur. Now, most of the time, the hurricane occurs in the southeast. This comms, because it was the Brooklyn Bridge, appears to be suggesting it's going to be in New York. Could the next 9/11 occur this year as part of a totalitarian plan to get us in camps? The chaos is a water event, so I've made that very clear. The chaos is some type of tsunami, it's some type of major hurricane that is unprecedented that gets us in camps, either a hurricane or a tsunami that wipes out the East Coast Tower 1, and the second tower are earthquakes and tsunamis that wipe out West Coast cities. So I've talked so much about San Francisco and Seattle. In this video, we're going to focus on the eastern side of the country and what they could be looking forward towards this summer. So we look, another psyop that occurred recently was Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis. Joe Biden was diagnosed with Gleason score 9. Joe Biden was born in Pennsylvania, and he lived most of his life in Delaware. So that is more of the Northeast. We see Gleason score 9 matches with Donald John Trump, a deadly event for a president, and it also matches with a storm is coming. I've talked about how when these apocalyptic events happen, we are going to see Ripple explode massively. So in that sense, Ripple could be a hedge. And of course, I talked about myself, but we're going to focus on national news in this video, and we're going to get into the New Orleans escaped inmates. So these New Orleans escaped inmates are very interesting for a few reasons. One, because we're looking for hurricane season, and this would suggest a massive hurricane is coming towards New Orleans. We're going to get into the gematria of some of these inmates, and first we're going to figure out who is doing all this, who is running this show, who is able to pull all these strings. Is it the Freemasons? Is it the Catholic Church? Is it aliens? Is it people wearing robes somewhere? It looks like, at least for this psyop, that this is being done by the Jesuit order. We see Leo Tate Escapes is a 7-cipher gematria anagram with Mario Bergoglio, aka Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope. We see Linton Van Buren is a 6-cipher anagram with the Jesuit order. So it appears the Jesuit order is behind this Psyop. They're the ones controlling the weather weapons. They're the ones kind of running this show. So Mario Bergoglio matches with Leo Tate Escapes. Linton Van Buren matches with the Jesuit order. Again, we have comms for the next 9/11. Remember, James Comey posted 8647, 8,647 days after 9/11. We see Gary C. Price equals 9/11 in 6 ciphers of gematria. So anytime it matches in the ordinal cipher and the reverse cipher, that means it's also going to match in the Sumerian cipher, the reverse Sumerian cipher, the satanic cipher, and the reverse satanic cipher. So that's why I say 6 ciphers and 7 ciphers for Leo Tate Escapes and Linton Van Buren, because it's going to match in these other non-pictured ciphers as well. So Gary C. Price in 6 ciphers matches with 9/11. So when you see Gary C. Price and you see New Orleans, you're thinking New Orleans 9/11, New Orleans 9/11, and we've already had a near camp experience with Hurricane Katrina. So New Orleans looks like it needs to be on the watch for an unprecedented hurricane. And I'm not just saying any hurricane. Remember, last year I predicted that Hurricane Beryl would cause a power outage in Houston, which it did. I also predicted that Hurricane Milton would flood Disney World while it was still forming in the southwest Gulf of Mexico. Neither of those were predicted by meteorologists. At least I predicted them well before the meteorologists did. So, Corey Boyd Escapes matches with Donald Trump is Dead. Again, we have this programming for the Trump event, Donald Trump's assassination. It also matches with Gematria Prophecy, showing that this knowledge can be used to make predictions about the future. Inmate Corey Boyd matches with New World Order. That's very similar to how the Mexican Navy ship matches with Order Out of Chaos. So the idea is that after these events, we are going to see the New World Order be established. So for the next 9/11, I suspect the first tower is that the northeast coastal cities are flooded. So we haven't had a major northeast hurricane since Hurricane Sandy. We're going to keep looking at the gematria of these inmates. Derek Groves equals the second coming. So the second coming is basically this idea that Donald Trump plays the Antichrist. So for Donald Trump to play the Antichrist, he's going to have to act like Jesus Christ. What is Donald Trump's claim to acting like Jesus Christ? Well, it's that he is going to save the children. Remember, last year, a member of QAnon predicted that Hurricane Helene would flood out the Biltmore estate in Asheville because there are underground child trafficking centers. And we have had a certain agency in Asheville for a very long time since then. We haven't seen camps in Asheville yet. But the idea is that after these apocalyptic events, we are going to see the New World Order be established, and the next 9/11 is a water event. So right now, the Northeast and New Orleans look like they're being programmed for a hurricane, a major hurricane, not just any hurricane, a Category 4, a Category 5, something big enough to get them in camps afterwards, government camps. So we see Antoine T. Massey matches with Hurricane Milton. Antoine T. Massey matches with Hurricane Milton. Again, major comms for a hurricane. Hurricane Milton, at a point, was the biggest hurricane ever. So the idea with these unprecedented earthquakes, these unprecedented hurricanes, is that there is a planet called and these airplane problems, and also with the Mexican Navy ship, these boats having trouble with their steering. The idea is that there is a planet called Planet Nibiru, and it is getting closer and closer towards Earth. As it gets closer towards Earth, its gravity is disrupting air traffic control signals. It's causing more earthquakes, and it's causing more severe hurricanes. So right now we're focusing on hurricanes in the Northeast and a hurricane in New Orleans this summer. Antoine T. Massey matches with Hurricane Milton, very similar to how this Mexican Navy ship matches with Hurricane Beryl. So we have a lot of comms for hurricanes in the news just this week. So we're going to see a major hurricane. Right now, we're looking for New Orleans to be a target, and we're looking for the northeast of the United States to be a target. Now, if the northeast of the United States is targeted by a major hurricane, that's Tower 1. We're going to look for San Francisco and Seattle, the west coast, the northwest, to be Tower 2. Those are going to most likely be giant earthquakes that cause massive tsunamis. Now, again, look at this. Antoine T. Massey escapes matches with Trump assassination. So I've been talking about the programming for the Trump event for a very long time. I've been talking about how a massive, massive earthquake will 100% occur if Donald Trump goes down. And then Kendall Miles matches with mind control. So this is all mind control. It's all about controlling the minds of the masses. The football is shaped like an eye. All of those games are rigged and scripted. This is probably programming for the Saints to do well, I would say. If I had to guess, this is probably programming for the Saints to do well. But Kendall Miles matches with mind control. So we've got the New York Knicks potentially going to the finals. I've posted about them recently. Watch out for the New York Knicks, especially if they play the Timberwolves in the finals. That's going to be more confirmation of this northeast hurricane, this northeast tsunami. But who is doing all this? It's the Jesuit order. It's clearly the Jesuit order. They're programming the next 9/11 after Donald Trump's assassination.